Hello, good afternoon everyone, and welcome to the first Friday afternoon coffee break of May. And I've just noticed my mug is slightly out of frame. Today I'm not drinking coffee. Yeah, I'm drinking peppermint tea. I had a lot of coffee this morning because I went to a morning breakfast briefing in Google, and I had to get up at like 5 a.m. By the time I got there, the bags under my eyes were like this. So I've kind of gone for a lot of makeup today. I'm not sure if you want to know that. Also, it's a beautiful sunny day in Ireland, and I've been wearing a hat all day. I'm still wearing a hat because I'd have wonderful hat hair. I can see someone's joined us. Do let me know if you join. Give us a like so I can see you are here. Leave me a comment. Let me know where you are in the world. I'm here in sunny Athy in County Kildare, Ireland. And I'm going to be discussing 4 topics today. Do you want to know what they are? Are you ready? Hello, I know I've got someone new there. If you've just joined me, let me know whereabouts in the world you are. I'd love to know. Okay, so here's my topics. Just in case you don't know, if you've never done a Facebook Live, it's really weird because it flips everything around. So when I try and look at this on the whiteboard, it's backwards for me. I know it's forwards for you, but it's backwards for me, so it's really hard. Bear with me. Okay, so topic number 1. Is blogging getting too much like hard work? And that's topic number 1 because Mandy Mortimer, who I'll let her know about this on Twitter later if you're not watching now, Mandy, sent me that on Snapchat when I mentioned topic number 2 earlier in the week. And topic number 2 is AMP from Google. AMP is assisted mobile. It tells me I've gone offline. Am I back? I'm back. It's a newish tool from Google, their assisted mobile pages. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that because I thought I was going to be all for them. And then I listened to a podcast during the week. I'm a little bit scared now. Topic number 3 is predictions for the future. Hey, Jerry, you're in Athy as well, are you? Yes, it was really good. Well, it was pretty basic, but it was great to be in a room full of so many people, and I did scribble down millions of notes while I was at Google. It's pretty good. Okay, topic number 3, predictions of the future. And the reason I've got this is that on my podcast earlier this week, I was talking about repurposing content. And I realised that it had been a long time since I'd repurposed anything. And in fact, it was in 2012 when I wrote a blog post about my predictions for what was going to happen in the digital world in 2013. And looking back on that's kind of quaint. So I've got a few of those to share with you. My predictions that I had at the beginning of 2016 and never got round to sharing. And number 4, branded content on Facebook. It's another of those ones that's scaring bloggers, social media influencers, in fact everyone, because Facebook have launched these kind of confusing guidelines about branded content. What isn't even is branded content, that's another thing up for discussion. Right, so moving on to topic number 1. I've got some cool new props. Do you want to see? Just if you've just joined, do let me know whereabouts in the world you are. I'd love to know. I can't see. It's not like Periscope. I can't see who you are unless you leave a comment. So give us a comment or give us a like and I'll check you out later on. So topic number 1 is blogging too much like hard work? And this has come up because there's been a few things that have happened in blogging recently. Number 1 is that Google have implemented, hey Mark, where in the world are you, Mark? I know it takes ages to type on a phone, so I'll wait there. Number 1 is Google introduced or enforced their policy about no follow links. So if you're a blogger or even, hey Karen, are you off in Kenmare? Karen is usually in Kenmare. She has a fabulous blog called Kenmare Foodies. So anyone that wants to check that blog out, definitely do. So no follow links was something that Google want you to put in if you're reviewing a product or if you get a product for free or in any way you've got sponsored content on your site. And the reason they want you to do that is they don't want people paying for links. They don't want you to go, like a company, to go to 100 bloggers, get them to review a product, and great, they've got loads of inbound links on their site, but that site might not be good quality, so it will affect the Google results. So that's the first thing they did, and they started implementing that, and they actually penalized some bloggers for doing that. So everyone got really scared about it. I have talked about that before on the Facebook Live. The second thing they did, do you want to see my number 2? The second thing that's happened recently is what I'm going to discuss next, which is the AMP pages, assisted mobile pages, which are essentially going to make it a lot harder to sell from your blog or from your website. In fact, I actually think that's worse for business bloggers than it is for regular bloggers who might have standard content. So we'll talk about that in a second. Talking about branded content, we've got number 3, which is that other thing I'm going to talk about in a little while, which is Facebook's crackdown on branded content on their pages, and what does that actually mean, and do we actually know what it means? So with all that in mind, you've got to think about, are my pages ready for mobile? In the old days, we used to just blog. We used to just get on our site and we'd start typing and it would be brilliant. We'd have a blog post, we'd throw it up there. But now we have to think a lot more strategically. And the reason I think this has happened is because back when I started blogging, no one was thinking about making money out of it. People were blogging because they loved writing. Okay, some of us were thinking about making money out of it. I was blogging for business, but still I was sharing content that I would think was interesting. And I did play with Google AdSense back in the day, but it was more about talking about my business and attracting customers, content marketing essentially. But now all I seem to hear is that bloggers are looking to make money. And to make money, you need to run ads, you need to do sponsored posts, you need to share sponsored content. And I think really that's why it's suddenly become so important that we disclose what we're doing. Because once you start doing that, you are a business, you're like a media outlet. You have to disclose when you're doing these things. So it has been harder to be a blogger because you have to be aware of all this stuff. And the other problem, of course, is if any of you are fans of Mark Schaefer and the term content shock, when I first started blogging, there weren't many bloggers out there. It was hard to find other bloggers. Whereas now, there's gazillions of bloggers out there. And there's loads and loads of content every day. So yeah, you do have to work a bit harder at being a blogger. But if you work harder and you produce better content and you obey all the rules, you're going to get so much more out of it. And people will actually read your posts where they might not otherwise. Okay, I'm on to topic number 2. If you've got any thoughts on that, by the way, please leave me a comment because I can always respond to you afterwards. I can't type while I'm doing this, but if I see your comment, I will respond, I promise. Number 2 is those AMP pages from Google. And I'm just going to, like, my iPad is being ridiculously slow, of course, because I wanted it to do this. But I want to show you something because I was driving to Dublin the other day because I was teaching. And on the way to Dublin, I listened to one of my favourite podcasts, which is the Social Media Examiner podcast with Michael Stelzner. And this one had actually caught my attention because it was what bloggers need to know about Google AMP. I'm hoping my site, yeah, it comes back up again. Now, Google AMP, this is the post. Do check it out on Social Media Examiner. You might need to Google it because it's, and I will put the links in the comments section of this once I finish. But what Google AMP pages are, it stands for assisted mobile pages. And they're similar to instant articles on Facebook, but the difference is it's still the content on your site. So it doesn't go and move it onto a server like Facebook instant articles moves your content onto Facebook so it's quick to load. What AMP pages do is they make a really stripped down version of your blog post. So they take anything out that might slow down the site on mobile. So, and this is where it becomes a problem for businesses specifically. It will take out any forms you have on the site. So if you have a pop-up window, which, you know, I still hate pop-up windows, but if you do, it'll take that out. Any forms that you've got on your site, it's going to take those out. Any ads you have on your site, it's going to get rid of those. Your banner header, it's going to get rid of those. Any JavaScript at all, so any plugins you've got running, all of that goes. So basically, what you're going to have is your text and your photos that are part of the post, and any embedded kind of video and stuff like that apparently still works. That will be there, but that's all that will be there. So it's really stripping it back. And because it's brought it down to just a white page with some text on it, it loads super fast. So the advantage is, of course, You'll get more eyes on your content. Those pages will rank better on Google. In fact, if you do a search for a news story, everyone seems to be talking about Donald Trump when they talk about this. If you do a search for him on mobile, you'll kind of see a few AMP articles right at the top. Of course, this is problematic for businesses because everything we do to monetize our site or to try and get customers or get people to sign up from our mailing list has gone. So there is kind of like, will I install them or won't? I would highly recommend listening to that Social Media Examiner podcast. Again, I will put the link underneath here. Because the whole way through I was going, I'm definitely going to install AMP. Oh, maybe I won't install AMP. And I'm still kind of half and half. I think I probably will, but I'm going to give it a few days to think about it. So that's AMP. On to topic number 3. And what do I think about AMP? I've got these other things, so I feel like I should put them in. Am I going to love AMP or am I going to hate it? On to topic number 3. And topic number 3 is predictions for the future. Now, as I said earlier, sorry, my connection stick keeps dropping, so if you are losing me, I do apologize. I was writing a blog post, or I was writing my podcast there last week, and when I did, I was thinking about content I had repurposed in the future. And one of those pieces of content I'd repurposed in the past was this, which was digital trends to watch out for in 2013. Again, I'll put a link down underneath this. And I found it really interesting reading back. Some of those things were spot on. Some of those things were really happening. So I focused on content marketing, context marketing, local search. Thanks to Shane Breslin actually for pointing out that I didn't get it all wrong. Some of them seemed terribly quaint, like not owning anything. That was my prediction. We're going to get rid of all our stuff. If you could see the office around me here, I definitely haven't got rid of stuff. But I thought it's been a long time since I've written a predictions post, and I did think about it at the beginning of 2016, and then I didn't. So do you want to know my 2 predictions for 2016? I know we're almost halfway through the year now, and neither of them has come true, so I can still do it. If you've ever been on one of my training courses this year, you may have heard my first one. And my first one, I do actually have to give credit to Beatrice Whelan from Sage as well, because it was the discussion with her at the end of last year that I came up with this one. And this prediction is Google's going to buy Twitter. What do you think? Will it happen? You may have noticed you're already getting good Twitter searches coming up in your Google searches. Twitter is struggling to make money. Google's always wanted to have a good social network. They just seem like a fabulous fit. Imagine as well, the ads on Twitter could actually work really well if they had the data that Google has powering them. If that happens, I think you will need to send me €1. Okay, prediction number 2 also hasn't come true, although Facebook has done far more interesting things that I didn't think of. But my second prediction was that Facebook would launch a standalone reviews app like Yelp or like TripAdvisor, but more for everything. Because they're already trying to encourage this on their Facebook pages, you know, the way you can review pages. I think eventually, like their Groups app, like their Messenger app, like their Pages app, that they'll move that into a separate app so you can go and review and have a look at local businesses through that. Let's see if that one comes true. If you've got any predictions, I'd like to hear them as well, even if they're as wacky as mine. Okay, we're on to the last topic of the day, number 4, which is branded content on Facebook. And this has been confusing everyone this week. Again, I'm just going to grab my iPad because I took a screen cap of the guidelines. And actually, when they first announced this, it was actually a couple of weeks ago when they first announced this. And I looked at it and I went, this isn't about us. This is about celebrities. And then kind of this week, it seemed to explode. Everyone was suddenly talking about it, particularly bloggers worrying about it. This is it. It's kind of boring. Very boring looking. Again, I will link to it underneath in the comments. And the bit that's confusing people is, firstly, branded content on pages is only allowed on verified pages with the blue badge. That's confusing everyone. So firstly, what is branded content? And number two, does that mean nobody else can share it? And I've seen so many different blog posts saying different things about this. There was even one, somebody had managed to get someone on Facebook and Messenger and managed to have a conversation on Messenger with them. And it still seemed unclear once I'd been there. It seems from a lot of the stuff I've read that yes, we can still share content from other pages on our Facebook pages. That's not an issue. That's never going to be an issue for Facebook like that. If we're getting paid to do it, we are supposed to mark the fact that we have, be very clear about it. So using the hashtag ad or hashtag sponsored when we share it. However, this specifically says that doesn't apply to us unless we have the blue badge. If you have the blue badge, it does. One of the articles I read was talking about Kim Kardashian and the fact that she was earning so much per review. So this new tool that they brought out for the verified pages means that when she kind of reviews a product, she'll be able to tag the brand that she's talking about in her post, and they'll actually be able to then put spend behind that. So they'll be able to advertise her post from her page, which sounds kind of cool, right? And they'll be able to see the analytics for it. So that is she worth the gigantic money that she actually charges for that? So it's a really interesting thing. If you are a blogger or if you are sharing content that you get paid for on the site, I would watch very carefully your statistics. I would watch to see, are Facebook limiting your organic reach on it, which is probably what's going to happen to start with. Just keep a keen eye because there's no real solution to this. And this is where I want to wrap the knuckles of Facebook and say, hey, Facebook, if you were another business, I'd be criticizing you big time for not communicating clearly to your community what they're allowed to do. It really is a very muddled message. And this isn't the first time. They've done very muddled messages before about Facebook competition guidelines, etc. They really need to get their act together and simplify the stuff so that users like you and me can understand it. Okay, that's it for this week's Facebook Live. Thank you to everyone who joined in, and thank you to everyone who's watching it on the replay. Even if you're watching it on the replay, you can leave me a comment. I won't be here next Friday. I'll be somewhere else, but I'll be back the following Friday, and you can always catch my podcasts on spiderworking.com/blog and all my other blog posts and videos there too. So I'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye bye.